Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Joni Ogg, and on behalf of travelprofessionalnews.com, home-based travelagent.com, and findahosttravelagency.com, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy days, these days in the holidays, to join us and be here. And today is going to be pretty fun. We're welcoming Paul Gauguin Cruises, and today's topic is Discover the Wonder of French Polynesia. It truly is a remarkable destination and one of my personal favorites, so I'm super excited about today's presentation as well. Our speaker today is Liz Coleman, the Vice President of Sales with Paul Gauguin Cruises. She started her tenure with the company as a Director of Business Development, covering about 1/4 of North America. And her business career began as a recruiter in the Boston market, placing individuals in travel related positions. And then she placed herself with American Express in business development, where she led a team of sales professionals consulting on expense management. So during this 14-year period at American Express, she was recognized repeatedly for her sales performance and her leadership capabilities. She brings exceptional relationship management skills, passion, creativity, and experience to the Paul Gauguin Cruises brand. She understands the market and the needs of the retail network, tour operators, the charters, and incentives. She believes creating win-win sales and marketing programs contributes to Paul Gauguin Cruises' success as being the leader in the travel luxury market for the South Pacific. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree with a major in French from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Now, based in the Boston area, she lives with her husband of over 25 years and their 3 boys and their dog, Nike. So please remember that you're all muted, but we do welcome your questions, as you know, and just put those in the question area at any time. And you see that on the right-hand side of your screen. And when the presentation is all over with, we're going to take as many questions as you can. But before we get started, I want to make sure that everybody knows that generously, Liz has offered 2 very lucky attendees to earn a $250 each Amazon gift card, which I think is amazing, honestly. Wish I could win that. And so here's the scope, though. You guys need to listen very carefully. I know what the questions are now. I also know the answers, and they're going to be challenging. So listen very carefully to this presentation. You definitely don't want to miss your chance. And as you guys all know, what we typically do, we'll ask the question, and then we'll take the answers online, and I'll pick one of the first 5 or 7, depending on how my mood strikes me, and we'll take it from there. So let's turn the microphone over to Liz so she can get started. Welcome, Liz. We're so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you so much, Jody. That was quite the introduction. I didn't really expect that, but thank you so much. But it's great to be here. I've been in the market now. I've been in the industry for a number of years, and I think that, when I listen to you say that, I've had a range of experiences that I think have led me to where I am today. So I'm actually very grateful and humbled by the opportunity that presents itself, not only here right now with all of you, but with what I do. So the first thing I will say, Yarana, which is hello in Tahitian, as well as Maeva, which is welcome. And I guess now I guess I'm another trilingual after because it is Tahitian after all. So the purpose of today's call is to take a more in-depth look at this iconic, what we call maybe bucket list destination, or maybe you choose a different word like a wanderlust destination, a must-do, a must-see experience. And the reason why I think places like this in the world are resonating now more than ever is because travelers, your clients, are looking for really transformative vacations and authentic experiences. They've now, over the last 2 years, stopped to take stock of what's important to them. Maybe it's family, it's friends, it's really experiences and how they want to connect with certain things. And when I say things, I don't mean like like shopping things, but I think about how places like this can touch people's soul in a way that maybe they haven't before. So I think it's very timely that we're talking about it, especially after 2 years or almost 2.5 years of really not being able to explore the world. But I think the time is right now. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, or maybe you're familiar with Paul Gauguin cruises, I like to just tell you what's been happening over the last couple of years in terms of recognition. So Paul Gauguin Cruises is basically a fixture in this market. The ship was built to sail the waters of Tahiti, French Polynesia, right? And year over year, we've been recognized as being the best of the best. We started out with Travel and Leisure earlier this year as being the #1 small ship, Condé Nast holding the #2 spot, and now recognized by Travel and Weekly with the Magellan Awards and a number of different things. And the reason I share this with you is because while you may have some sense of who we are and what we bring to the table, if this is a brand new consideration for your clients, they may not be willing. So you always have to show them or share with them, some of those talking points that say, you know what, they've been around for a really long time, and they are the best of the best, as evidenced by some of the accolades that they receive repeatedly over time. Now, Joni, I appreciated that intro, not to be more about me, but I want to just acknowledge that I have been with the company for almost 15 years, and I've been to this area maybe 9 times, but I have to look at my passport. And every time I feel like I'm in a dream mode, because it is that special. It's the destination coupled with what I think is the best way to get around. Is kind of like a hand in glove. As we work through today's presentation, I want to make sure that you know who your support is in the field as well. So Vicki Lubick covers all of Canada. She's based in Calgary, and she's been with us almost as long as I've been here. And then we have a couple new people to the group. Lisa Gordine is our director of sales based in LA. She covers the Southwest. Shannon McGee covers the Northeast and the Midwest, and then Scott the Southeast. And then I have an open position that's based in either San Francisco or the Seattle area. And in the interim, Lisa is supporting that territory. But I want to talk about the open position just for a second. And that is the gentleman that held this territory. Maybe some of you know him. His name was Rolf. He was with us for almost 10 years. Let me tell you, class act, love the guy through and through. But he reached a point out in his life, in his travel career, that he said, you know what, I want to stop and think about what I want to do in my next chapter. So he didn't necessarily retire, but he transitioned out to figure out what else he wants to do in life, right? And I share this story with you because I think that so many people out there are in that very same spot. They are looking at what's important and what do they want to do next. We see people coming into the travel business, and sometimes we see people going out of the travel business, right? But at the end of the day, they're also identifying places that they want to connect with. And this is one of those said places that maybe in the past didn't make it out to someone's, they weren't verbalizing this to you, and maybe it's still in the back of in their mind. So that's where we have to change the dialogue and start bringing these opportunities to them. But I always start with the map, because this is one of those places in the world that feels far, it looks far. How do I get there? But there's a lot more lift into the area than there was previously. So Air Tahiti Nui is the flagship carrier, and they operate out of Los Angeles, but most recently they opened up the Seattle market, so you have lift out of there. United Airlines a couple of years ago announced flights out of San Francisco, so you can do that. And then Delta, then I would say the last 6 months or so, announced their interest, and they are starting to fly into Tahiti as well. Typically, that's one of the biggest obstacles to get people into this area, is like, how do I get there? Where is it? Oh my gosh, I can't get there from here. And for a lot, it feels like a pipe dream because they don't know exactly where it is. So we are also equidistance of south of the equator as Hawaii is north of the equator. We're about 8 hours. So if you have a big Hawaii market, it takes about what, 6 hours from Los Angeles? This is a perfect opportunity for you. It's a way to introduce them to something that is Polynesian. In this case, it's French Polynesian, and it's what we call maybe a drink and a movie or two beyond. So as much as I like to talk about, you know, the ship, for us, it's about the destination and the authenticity of the culture and, you know, the people and the landscape. And then it's the best way to get around with the ship. But I like to start with a little geography. So Paul Gauguin Cruises visits 3 out of the 5 French Polynesian islands. Now, this whole area is called Polynesia, but if you look a little bit further, it's the Society Islands, it's the Tuamotus, and the Marquesas. Those are the French Polynesian islands. There are 2 others called the Australs and the Gambier didn't make it. Those are 2 others. We've gone there on occasion, but really our bread and butter are these 3 island chains, these 3 archipelagos. We also go to the Cook Islands, but they're not a part of French Polynesia. And then on occasion, we'll go to points beyond, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But our sort of bread and butter are the 7 to 14 night sailings, which are these 3, or these 4, but the French Polynesian islands are these. And then we'll cross the international date line and we'll go to Fiji, and really Fiji there and back, and then sometimes to Bali when we go into dry dock, which will be early next year. The main itinerary that is a part of every island is this set, or the main itinerary that's a part of every all the other longer sailings is the 7-night sailing. So again, we're coming into Tahiti, Papeete, Tahiti. We're sailing to Huahine, Taha. We'll spend 2 days in Bora Bora, 2 days in Moorea, and then we're going back. In 2024, we're actually adding another island, which we've visited before in the past, called Raiatea. Raiatea and Huahine actually share the same lagoon. So they're like almost like kissing cousins almost. But you know what's unique about the Society Islands, and again, when I think about like what clients are looking for, transformative experiences, authenticity, you're learning about what all these places are about. So these are volcanic in nature, not erupting, so it's very safe. Huahine and Raiatea have the largest concentration of outdoor Polynesian temples called maraes. This is where they prayed to the gods and they did the sacrifices. Taha, for example, is the vanilla island, and people can learn about, you know, how this spice, which is really quite special, expensive, because it's hand pollinated. They don't have the insect to pollinate it, so they actually have to do it by hand, which is pretty remarkable. And then you got the iconic Bora Bora. You know, we read about all of Bora Bora. We think about it with the different, you know, couples retreat and some of the other places. And then we go back to Moorea for 2 days and then back to Papeete. So I like to insert little fun facts along the way about the destination for things that people can learn about and see. But of course, what would be French Polynesia, Tahiti, and our islands if we didn't give you a little sun and sand after all? This is one of our highlights, and it's our beach barbecue day on our Motu Mahana off the island of Taha, where we bring some of the water toys. You know, there's a floating bar, we cook. I mean, it's just great. You can spend the whole day there, or maybe you're someone that says, want to do a short excursion in the morning and then just hang out at the beach. And if you love your beach days, we give you a lot of them. I mean, we have Bora Bora. I mean, this is our other, what I kind of call our no frills beach day. And you'll see that we have the paddle boards that we bring over here, and you can just hang out for 30 minutes or just check it out and return. But it's really giving all of our guests the opportunity to have a fully customizable experience based on your terms. And that's what I love about this casual yet elegant yet intimate destination. Now, you know, as we think about this area for special celebrations, we also think about it for the water. You know, when you think about people that, you know, the snorkelers or the divers of the world, this tends to be one of the top 10 requested places to do just that. The 10-night sailing, we venture out to the Tuamotus, Rangiroa, and Fakarava. One's a UNESCO biosphere, so they're very protected. You know, they're low-lying atolls, right? And when an atoll is sinking, you get a bed of coral that surrounds the different islands. And when you get coral, you attract marine life. And so all the fish that are there are so colorful, vibrant, and I've seen things that I've never seen before. And it's the same with the Cook Islands, which, by the way, are off the coast of New Zealand, and not a part of French Polynesia. I did this sailing a number of years ago. I was telling everyone, it's like a pinch me moment. So the Cook Islands are made up of like 15 larger islands, and we descend upon Aitutaki and Rarotonga. And again, each of them are sort of unique. Rarotonga is a little bit more jungle clad in the interior, and then Aitutaki is really flat. I will tell you, the water all the way around, the marine life is exquisite. And of course, the people, they're just so joyful and filled with a lot of spirit. It's just amazing. So this is the 14-night sailing going back to the French Polynesian Islands. I did this in April, and I had never actually gone this far out before, and it was amazing. And it was amazing because just as the Society Islands are volcanic and the Tuamotus are flat and it's about the water, the Marquesas is totally, unequivocally different. It's all about the landscape, the ruggedness of the islands themselves. And here we descend upon 4, but in 2024, we'll actually add another one. If you are wondering, Paul Gauguin's namesake, Paul Gauguin, the artist, he's actually buried out in the Marquesas Islands, out in Ivaoa. So the 13-night sailing is where we sometimes start our repositioning. We just completed Fiji back in October, end of September, October, and now we'll go back, starting in Tahiti. We'll visit Moorea, Taha, Bora Bora, Aitutaki, and the Cooks, cross the international date line, visit Vavau in the Kingdom of Tonga. That's, by the way, the first stop after the international date line, and then some of the Fijian islands. Now, because we're actually going in for a technical dry dock in the beginning of January, actually mid-January, we'll continue on to Bali. These are more like repositioning sailings. So we'll start in Fiji. We'll connect with some of the islands in Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, rich in history. I just love this. Anybody that loves like World War II history, Guadalcanal, I mean, like amazing. And then we'll continue on. And then of course the other one, how can I not acknowledge Komodo Island, where the Komodo dragons are? And then we'll end up in Bali. So that's a 16-night sailing, and then reverse. And then of course we'll do the reverse of the Fiji back to Tahiti as well. So we just refurbished the ship last year, all the soft goods in the inside, but now we're going to actually do the technical piece that we have to do and continue to do. And that's just it. You know, the ship was, as I said earlier, the ship was built to sail these waters. So we'll be celebrating like 25 years of being in French Polynesia next year. We are so excited because we're still a staple, right? We're still one of the best ways to explore the destination. And how we do it was a small ship with just over 300 guests. Every room is a room with a view. But the fact that it's all inclusive, really, so it allows you to just sit back and watch the world go by or engage on your terms. And the word all-inclusivity, I think we all recognize, means different things to different people. But what we mean are all your meals. We have a number of different dining venues. It means room service and gratuities and Wi-Fi. So that you can just have your cake and eat it too. That's the way that I look at it. So when you are on the ship, and again, we talk about the customizable piece, is that your level of engagement when and how you want to do it is totally up to you. One of the things that our guests love is, of course, the culture. And we bring the culture onto the ship as often as well, actually, they're a mainstay because we have Polynesian hosts. They are French Polynesian hosts called Les Gauguin and Les Gauguin. And by day, they're running different activities. They're talking about their traditions and their lores. And in the evening, then they're performing for you. All while the fact that you're enjoying the really high touch service levels where they know your name, they know your drink, and a little bit about you. Every itinerary that we lay out when we go, to the different places, to the different ports, we make sure that all of our guests have ample time to do what they want, to explore on their terms. So, I mean, I'm sure you can all relate to, have you ever gone someplace and you're like, yep, I've kind of checked that off. I'm ready to go back to the ship, or I'm ready to go on to my next excursion. That's how we do it. So you don't feel like I've just gotten there and it's like, oh, hurry up, we have to leave again. Lots of open space on the ship. So if you're someone that says, you know what, I'm just going to hang out around the pool, or I'm going to find my chaise lounge under the shade, I can do that as to get your e-reader, your book, and you enjoy that as well. And the exclusive retreats actually refer to those small, those private beach days I was referring to a moment ago. So you might be thinking, yeah, I love the backdrop. I love what some of, this holds, but I don't either have a clientele for this, or how do I target the right people to get to this experience? And here's what I would say. Every single person has an opportunity, and every single person can be a candidate for this. It's just a matter of when it makes sense. It makes sense for them. So for example, the way you traveled, if you put yourself in this scenario, the way you traveled in your 20s, maybe backpacking through Europe, is not the way you might travel right now, right? So what we look, where there's a good fit right now, are people who love to celebrate. Are we all looking for an excuse to celebrate and reward ourselves? So look for anyone that does want to do that. How about downsizing, putting the last one through college? We are all looking for excuses to celebrate. Maybe the celebration has to do with reuniting with your friends and your family, right? Which brings me to my second point, is multi-generational groups. Over the last 2 years, we now cannot get enough because we've been missing people, and everything has been put on hold for a lot of people. Active travelers, whether it's, like hiking, snorkeling, diving, people love the outdoors. Think about people who love gardening, the beautiful backdrop, the flowers, the fauna, that sort of thing. And of course, having the conversation around what are those must-do, must-see places before you, open or close that next chapter in your life. I mentioned multi-generational groups. I did this with my family a number of years ago, and at the time my kids were 6, 9, and 14. Brought my parents, my kids, my husband, and then some friends as well. What was amazing about this is that with the ship and the comfort of the ship and all the different activities, there was something for everyone. But for the young ones, we have a very hands-on experiential program called the Moana program, and it's only offered during the summer and the last 2 sailings of the year. It's totally complimentary. What I love about it is that my parents can participate, grandma and grandpa, and because that's the whole thing. It's about engagement, right? I, as a working mom, as a working professional, want to make sure, and I want to enjoy what my kids are doing, but I don't want to play video games. The second one is celebrating those special marked events like honeymoons and anniversaries. We have a complimentary blessing ceremony, for example, done Tahitian style, where we wrap the couple in a tafife, which is a Polynesian quilt, and then we recite a prayer. What I think is really funny about this one is that we allow both honeymooners and anniversary folks to participate, but the prayer that they recite is all about kind of fertility, and and so someone that's celebrating like 50 years together is like, well, I probably don't need that part of it, but I do like the other celebration, the other piece that goes along with it. That's complimentary, by the way. So what does life look like on board at this point? Well, first of all, we completely renovated the ship head to toe. She's beautiful. For those of you who might not know, we're now owned by Pono, and they have exquisite taste in design and decor. And so you can see some of these elements throughout the next photos I'm going to show you. It's still so casual and so comfortable and yet elegant at the same time. And speaking of elegant, what's not to love about a variety of different dining venues? We've got 3 different dining venues, including room service. So the first one is La Veranda, which is more like a French bistro. And you can pick and choose off the menu, a la carte. I mean, what's not to love about these dishes? I mean, the culinary, the culinary, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the expertise that our chefs have in putting together these dishes is amazing. The grill is more like an Asian fusion, French Polynesian kind of flair, lots of fish. And then the third one is more about like toile. Is more of like an intercontinental type cuisine. It's our main dining venue where we just serve dinner. The other 2 are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The other 2, you have to make reservations in the evening. But, you know, we love to complement some of this by bringing other guest hosts on the ship as well, and where you would see some of them, quote, perform or do a demonstration is here. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with our executive chef on a call the other day with a chef that we're bringing on, a celebrity chef as a guest host. And what came out of the conversation was how much that we source that is sustainable, like I say, because that's another element I think that's important to people, is not only, you know, the sustainability of a particular area. And so that is always front and center for us when we are, however we go about our business. So this is where our guests would, quote, perform. And the entertainment, as I said, is presented by Les Gauguin and Les Gauguin, who are our international hosts. They're born and raised in the islands. And then we do bring on other local singing, dancing troupes and things like that. What I always tell people is that, you know, these are not like big Broadway shows. You know, we don't have the capacity to do that because it's a small ship. So it's a lot more authentic in nature. But look, if you're someone that doesn't want to see the nightly show, then you could retire back to La Palette and have cocktails and do karaoke or something like that. But we do have a house band. You know, we say every sunset marks the beginning of another, like a nightly adventure. But I feel like for me, it's the morning sunrise and my daily adventure, which are, you know, the water activities, because I'm an active person, not a diver per se, but I do love the back of the ship because there's a marina where you can kayak and paddleboard off the back. We have a spa that's presented by Algotherm, wonderful different treatments, 5 different treatment rooms, a plethora of services. And then this is the La Palette, which I was referring to. This is actually one of my favorite areas of the ship because it's so casual and laid back. And, you know, in the morning, I have my coffee out there. They have a juice bar inside La Palette, even a Bloody Mary bar. So if breakfast opens like at 7, this opens at 6 for coffee and tea and, you know, fresh pastries and things like that. It's just, it's so just amazing. So this is just a quick snapshot of some of the color scheme of the rooms that were just upgraded, renovated, I should say. I love the cool, comfortable blues that have been selected, 165 staterooms. This is one of the larger staterooms, but you can see all of these online and different views, and of course the room size as well. But most of what we have are really balconies. Category B and above automatically comes with butler service. Those rooms are at least 250 square feet with at least a 50 square foot balcony, and these are 200 square feet with, say, a 37 or 39 square balcony. You know, when I looked at, like, going back to what the invitation said, it said, hey, you know, not only do we want to talk about like how this destination is speaking to people in ways that it didn't before, and I've got like a whole group of people that I might want to suggest this to, right? Friends, family, whatever it is. So we have a pretty good group program that starts with combining whatever the bonus is, the best rate in the market, and overlay that with another 5% savings off the sailing in all the different categories as long as they're available. Plus, we have a TC program where you can, if you sell 9 berths, you get the 10th as a TC credit, and you can earn up to 10 TC, 2 TCs. And of course, the past guest program as well. For those of you who are already doing groups, good for you. I mean, this is wonderful. For those of you who would like to start doing groups, all it does is start, I'm going to tell you, it starts with the power of an invitation. So when I did my group a number of years ago, I thought for sure I wasn't really sure who would come, right? Like I knew my parents wanted to go. Of course, my kids were all in, right? But it was those other people. And I laid the groundwork probably about a year and a half. And I said, this is what I'm doing. The thing that surprised me the most was the level of interest. I know for a fact that these people would never have done this if I didn't ask them. Even though they knew what I did for years and years, they wouldn't have done it. And so having a Pied Piper sort of lead the charge, if you will, really helps get this off the ground. And that Pied Piper, that could be you, it could be someone within your client base, or it's a matter of just kind of sourcing and figuring out who could that be. All of what I'm talking about can be found in our travel advisor page. There's lots of good information, and the best part of it is that you can take lots of this information and post it and share it with others. And then if you want to learn a little bit more about us, I would suggest becoming a Pearls Advisor, which is our online certification program. You'll get a heads up on sales that if we have a promotion that's coming out. We just ended one for Pearls Appreciation, where there was, for every booking you made, you had the opportunity to earn a little bit of pin money, like $250 gift card, and then actually join us for free as well. So it's things like that, other benefits, and we want to reward you accordingly. All of our social media, check it out, copy, paste, share, whatever you want to do. I think that would be awesome. And then I just want to bring us back to your contacts, your people that will help you, hopefully help you be successful. Because this is, again, not a place in the world that most people dream about, but they're really not sure how to connect the dots and how to make it come alive. And I just, hope that you will embrace what I'm saying and reach out to these terrific sales directors to help you be successful as well. So with that, I'm going to say maruru. Now my vocabulary is like 3 words I know in Tahitian. So Yorana, Maeva, and maruru. So thank you very much.